Hi everyone, it's Miss Mary from Skokie Public Library, back with another Rise and Shine Storytime. I'm so glad to be with you on this very windy day today. I took a walk a little while ago and it seems like the weather's getting a little warmer. It's very windy. There's not too much sun today, but there are little tiny green shoots coming out of the ground. And that tells us that spring is coming, which means the warmer weather is coming and we can be outside more. And that makes me very happy. Well, I want to remind you that Rise and Shine Storytime has one thing that lots of other storytimes don't have. Do you remember what that is? I bet you do. If you're saying what we have is a magic box, you are 100% right. And here it is. And our magic box is what we're going to be talking about today. Inside the magic box is our subject for today. What do you think is in here? Any ideas? Maybe a puppy? No, I'm not hearing any barking. What could it be? Let's shake it and see if we can tell. Well, not shaking too much. Not a lot of thumping or jingling or any of those noises. Should we look and see? Yeah, want to? Okay. Oh, what a perfect thing to be in our magic box today. Look at this. It's a kite. Now, I don't know how much you know about kites, but kites are wonderful toys that you can play with in the wind. You hold them by a string, and sometimes you have to run a little bit, and the kite will go up in the air. And it'll stay there for a long time on a windy day, and it's kind of fun to play with your kite and move it around in the air. Kites usually have a few parts. They have a frame, which is made of some sticks that are put together. And then the paper part, you can also use plastic, will catch the wind, kind of like the wings of a bird. And then it has a tail, and that makes the kite kind of sit nice and steady in the wind rather than blow all over the place. So kites are something you can make yourself. You could make one today, and you can just go outside and run a little bit on a windy day, and your kite will go up in the sky. And the most wonderful thing about kites, I think, is that people all over the world fly them. They fly them in China. They fly them in India. They fly them in Australia. They're big parties called festivals in the springtime when people get out and fly their kites together and make beautiful, beautiful designs on their kites. And there are lots of different kinds of kites too. This is just one shape. It's called a diamond shape, but there are lots of other shapes too. So it's a lot of fun to explore the idea of kites and have some fun when it's windy. So I thought today we would read a book about a kite. This book is called Kimmy's Marvelous Wind-Catching Wonder. There's Kimmy. And it's by Linda Glaser, and it's read with the permission of Redleaf Press today. Oh, look what we have on the first page here. Here's a picture of Kimmy, and she is obviously going to make something. Look what's on her table there. Glue, scissors, maybe some tape too. So let's see what Kimmy's going to make. I bet you have an idea what she's going to make. Snip, snip, snip. Kimmy's scissors flew across the paper. Trevor watched. Kimmy must be at preschool, huh? What are you doing? Making something, said Kimmy. Kimmy drew curvy lines and glued on colorful tissue paper. Stella came over. What is it? Kimmy smiled. You'll see. She taped on crepe paper ribbons and a long piece of yarn. Finally, she held it up. It's a kite, exclaimed Kimmy. Not a real kite, said Stella. The string's too short. And it's just paper, said Trevor. It won't fly. Do you think it won't fly? Let's find out. Oh, yes, it will. Kimmy swooped her kite this way and that around the room. But her kite didn't fly. It just bumped on the floor. It's not real, said Stella. It doesn't work, said Marcus. It will outside, said Kimmy. She took her kite to the window. The leaves on the trees fluttered this way and that. You'll fly, Kimmy whispered to her kite. Won't you? Soon, Miss Pam called, time to go outside. Miss Pam must be their teacher, I think. All the children clamored to the door, except Kimmy. She hugged her beautiful homemade kite. Would it fly? Or would it just go bump, bump, bump on the ground? You worked hard on that kite, said Miss Pam. Are you ready to try it? Kimmy stepped outside. A warm breeze brushed her face. Everyone was running around and playing. No one was watching. Good, Kimmy thought. She looked at her kite. Her heart pounded. Here we go, she said. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Kimmy held the string tight and ran all through the green yard. Her braids blew, her shirt billowed. And what do you think? Her very own kite, that marvelous wind-catching wonder, flapped and fluttered and flew. Look at that, Kimmy shouted. The kids came running. Hey, said Marcus, can I try? Me first, shouted Stella and Trevor at once. You all like my kite. Kimmy beamed and danced. See, it flies and it's real and I made it myself. Please, can we try? Said Trevor. Double please, chimed Stella and Marcus. Kimmy hugged her beautiful kite. You didn't like it before. We do now, said Marcus. We love it. cried Stella. Just one little try, begged Trevor. Kimmy thought and thought about what she should do. Now, why do you think Kimmy's thinking? Maybe she's not quite ready to share her kite with other kids right now, She just made it. It's brand new. Maybe she's worried that someone might break it and not use it right. So she's thinking pretty hard, right? I know, said Kimmy. Come on. She held onto her kite and ran to the door. Let's go make more. With a nod from Miss Pam, they all rushed straight to the art table, where Kimmy showed them how. Scissors flew, the children drew and taped and glued, and soon they galloped out, each with their very own kite. Hold them tight, shouted Kimmy. They did, and they ran, and all their kites flew. So that's the end of the story. Isn't that a great story? And I love the way Kimmy had to make some decisions about what she wanted to do, whether she was going to try to fly the kite anyway, even though some people didn't think she could do it, and the way she decided that she just wasn't quite ready to share her kite, but she did want other kids to be able to fly kites, so they all made kites. I love that story. Now, if you liked the story today about kites, here's our kite again. I have some other suggestions for you that you might like. There are some books at Skokie Public Library right now that are all about kites and wind, and they are really fun. You can get them right now. The first book I'm going to recommend is called Stuck, and it's by Oliver Jeffers. And it's a very funny story about a kite that gets stuck in a tree. There's also a wonderful classic story called The Wind Blew by Pat Hutchins. And that's a great story about all the ways that the wind can blow things around, including things like our hats and our scarves and our hair. Wind by Marion, Dane, Bauer is a book that just tells you some more information about wind, where it comes from, how it changes, how it moves, how it's different during different seasons. And we also have some wonderful books about kite making and flying in different parts of the world. There's a book called Farmer Falgu Goes Kite Flying by Chitra Soundar, and that's about flying kites in India. And Kite Flying by Grace Lynn is about a family making a Chinese dragon kite. Those are so beautiful. And my last recommendation is called I Face the Wind. And it's a book by Vicki Cobb all about wind, and even gives you some little scientific experiments you can do with wind. So I hope you enjoy those books, and I hope you get out and fly your own kite. And now before we go, let's do a little poem about kites. And it goes like this. You can hold up your hands with me, just like this, and each one of your fingers will be a kite. 5 little kites high in the sky, and you can hold your hands way up high. The first one said, "Look at me fly." The second one said, "Watch me roar." The third one said, "Let's do it some more." The fourth one said, "Let's go to the sun." And the fifth one said, "It's springtime fun." Then whoosh went the wind, and it blew all the kites. You can make your flights move around. They danced in the sky, and they flew out of sight. Well, I'm so glad you joined me today for Rise and Shine Storytime. I'll see you next time and we'll do more stories together. Bye.